Do you ever feel stuck in your recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome, long COVID, anxiety, or other mind body symptoms? Today, I'll share 3 steps people miss in their recovery and how you can use them. It took me almost 15 years to realize how healing these simple strategies can be in my own recovery from ME CFS, and I hope they help you too. I'm Rebecca Tolan, a mind body coach and the creator of the Be Your Own Medicine program. Even if you're familiar with mind body healing, you might be missing some important nuances. Here's the 3 things that hold people back from feeling well again. Number 1, befriend your body. So we want to cultivate a somatic awareness of our own body. And first, let me say that working with our beliefs and thoughts is pivotal too. If we think of ourselves as sick and we act like we're incapable of recovering, we stay stuck. We want to update our knowledge base to understand that mind body symptoms are caused by a hypervigilant brain and nervous system, not by pathogens or a disease state. I had a huge breakthrough when I stopped seeing myself as sick. In fact, I said to myself with full conviction, I am not sick. And I got this burst of energy. But I still had to then work with my somatic body, because we really can't retrain our brain without including our body. It's often been said that the mind and body are one. They are not separate. Information continually travels back and forth from the brain to the body. And it's our subconscious brain that interprets whether those signals are safe or unsafe. So, one of the factors that our brain uses to evaluate these signals is how we consciously respond to sensations in our body. Believe it or not, our reaction to these symptoms tells our brain whether our body is safe or not and whether it should perpetuate the symptoms. So, we want to learn to observe our symptoms in our body through a lens of safety. And one really powerful way to do that is somatic tracking. Instead of thinking of our body as a separate object, we want to inhabit the sensational experience of our body. So, right now, if you can, I invite you to pause and tune into your felt experience. Notice where your body is supported by the surface that's holding you. That might be the furniture or the floor. And notice how it feels to be held. Whether you're standing, sitting, or laying down, can you relax any of the muscles that you don't need right now? So I just noticed that my shoulders are a little tense and I can drop them and soften them. You might be able to soften your arms, your stomach, or your jaw, just allowing a little more relaxation. And you might even want to let out a sigh. This is just a natural and instinctual way to activate the rest and digest part of our nervous system. Now, can you become aware of any body sensations and allow them to be just as they are? Sensations could feel sharp, dull, hot, cold, aching, pulsing, or anything else. Even if they're uncomfortable, these sensations are safe. This is the mindset that we want to cultivate both in formal and informal practice throughout our day. If you want to try a longer somatic meditation, you can sign up for a free one on my website at RebeccaTolan.com. But I really encourage you to start exploring your somatic body. This was pivotal for my own recovery from CFS, and many people that I've worked with say the same thing. Basically, instead of fighting our body, we want to be with it in this mindful somatic way. This tells our subconscious brain that we're okay and it doesn't need to send symptoms as warning signs. And essentially, as we find harmony with our body, it can find homeostasis and we harness its healing potential. Number two, stand up to fear. Don't let the symptoms derail you, my friend. Symptoms are not an accurate reflection of progress. So, as we learn this mind body knowledge and we challenge ourselves with more activity, we often get pushback from our subconscious brain because it's used to living in this small bubble. And it's basically trying to communicate, whoa, you're going out of this bubble. That doesn't seem safe. And of course, it communicates with symptoms. But nothing's gone wrong when you get symptoms when you're in your recovery process. In fact, this is the most powerful time to train your limbic brain that your body is okay and these activities are safe for you. So, how do you do this? You take back your own power from the symptoms. You don't let them dictate what you do or don't do. And this is really a matter of standing up to fear again and again, which serves us in so many different ways. You want to tell and show your subconscious brain that you're not scared of these sensations because they can't harm you. Again, we know that mind body symptoms are caused by a sensitized nervous system and learned neural pathways in the brain. So we want to work with the root cause. What exactly does this look like? I get a lot of questions about this. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed, extremely anxious, or fearful of the symptoms, find ways to soothe yourself. This is not the time to push. This might be practicing breath work, somatic meditations, simply laying on the grass, or playing with a pet. You also want to cognitively remind yourself that you're okay and that nothing's gone wrong. This is part of the brain training. But then, as you feel relatively safe and you can watch these symptoms mindfully, challenge yourself. This doesn't mean that the symptoms have to go away. It just means you're able to observe the symptoms without spinning into rumination or catastrophizing. So, when you challenge yourself, you actually rewire the neural networks in your brain. And this is a powerful time to create healthy pathways. So, this means you keep doing the activities that you want and need to do with reminders that you're okay. It's basically like training a puppy. You don't just do it a few times and then give up after a few days or even after a few months. You want to engender confidence and consistency because it really takes repetition to retrain our primitive brain. When I was recovering from 13 years of CFS, I started reframing flare ups as opportunities. This was a real chance to show my brain that I'm A-OK and I'm not buying into these signals. So instead of ruminating over whether I'd overdone it and I was going to get post exertional malaise, I just thanked my brain for trying to protect me and I let it know I no longer needed that protection. And then I went on with my day the best I could. Now, of course, sometimes we just have to pay our bills or do the laundry, but whenever you can, cultivate joy. Do something enjoyable when symptoms arise. This really signals to the primitive brain you're not running from a saber-toothed beast. And really, it's a lot more fun too. But it can just be as simple as watching the clouds or watching a favorite show, listening to music, cooking a nourishing meal, or spending time in nature. And know that these are not frivolous acts, they're profoundly healing because you are showing your subconscious brain that you're safe by shifting your mind to something that's pleasurable. Okay, number three, treat yourself with compassion. Having chronic symptoms like long COVID, CFS, digestive issues, pelvic pain, headaches, or insomnia is hard enough. I know because I lived with them for so many years. But the last thing you need is someone inside your own head beating you up. And guess what? Self-criticism and self-pressure activate that danger alarm signal in our brain, which causes symptoms. And then we can get stuck in that stress symptom loop. Fortunately, we can get unstuck. So the famous TMS personality traits that John Sarno described can do the same thing. Can you relate to perfectionism, people pleasing, self pressure, self criticism, or holding in your emotions? I basically could check all those boxes at one point, but I've learned to be true to myself in a way that doesn't harm myself or others, and you can too. This has made just a huge difference in my own recovery, but also in my quality of life and in my relationships. And one really powerful way that I've been able to do this is through mindful self compassion. This is the perfect antidote to these hard driving tendencies that we develop. The trauma expert Gabor Mate says, quote, much of what we call personality is not a fixed set of traits, only coping mechanisms a person acquired in childhood. So essentially, we develop these strategies like perfectionism to gain approval from our parents or our peers and to avoid punishment. But the strategies are not often helpful in adulthood. They just have become habits. Now, it's great to strive for excellence, and you can feel a difference in your own body if you're energized and excited about a project. But once you start feeling depleted, drained, or you're just really putting a lot of pressure on yourself, you know that one of these personality tendencies has kicked in, and you want to bring mindful awareness to that. So when I notice tension or nervousness, which is usually a sign that I'm running one of these patterns, I pause to take a self compassion break. And this is a three-part process as outlined by Kristen Neff. In the first step, we want to acknowledge our suffering. And instead of just being in it and thinking it's who we are, we kind of step back and say, I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling really scared or anxious right now about getting this work done. And it's really challenging. And then you would want to notice your body sensations and just again kind of see what can relax. Now, the second step is to acknowledge that it's understandable to feel the way we do. We want to really normalize our feelings. I might say to myself, I'm human, and this is just part of life. And then in the third step, which is really important, we bring in self kindness. We treat ourselves as we want someone else to treat us, saying the words that we wish someone else would say to us, or the words that we might say to someone else in our situation. So I might pause and say, Rebecca, I know you're feeling pressure to work harder, but I accept and love you the way you are. You don't have to achieve more to earn my love. You're doing your best, and that's enough. And I've said these words to myself a lot of times, and it really makes a difference because when I'm striving so hard, it is often because there's this old pattern of thinking that if I just achieve more or do more, that I'll somehow be more worthy or more lovable. And, that's just a never ending goal that we don't reach. And so then the main question we ask with mindful self compassion is, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? So I invite you to try this out with me if you like. Pick a pain point that you're experiencing and identify the emotions that you're feeling about it. So your pain point could be physical symptoms, it could be financial worries or conflict in a relationship. But then I really am asking you to identify the emotions you're feeling. I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm noticing shame right now. A lot of times we use thought statements when we're really not addressing the underlying feeling. So, for instance, if someone would say, I'm feeling like this situation is too hard, that's not actually a feeling. This situation is too hard is a thought our mind is making up, but we want to get to I'm actually feeling despair about this. So we can feel that in our body and allow it to move through us. So You then, in the second step, normalize your suffering by acknowledging that many people would feel just the way you do in your situation. And then speak the words that you really want to hear to yourself. So you might pause this video to try this out and really tune into how can you shift your inner dialogue in a way that's supportive for you. You've got this. I believe in you. I'm here no matter what. You're doing your best. And notice how that feels in your body, because when you're speaking your inner truth and you're speaking self-compassionate words, it's going to feel more relaxing or even more enlivening. And when you're speaking words that are pressuring or critical, generally it's going to feel like a contraction or kind of self-pressure or a draining sensation. And then finally, just ask, what do I need? What is my unmet need? And it may be tempting to say, oh, I need these symptoms to go away. But we really want to tune into needs that are possible to meet in this moment. So that could be, I just need some fresh air to go breathe out in the sunshine, or I need to take a little snack and talk to a friend, and really see what you can do for yourself right now. Self-compassion is so beautiful because it involves our somatic body, standing up to fear, and meeting our deeper needs. These are really important aspects of both healing and thriving. I actually wish I had learned all this in grade school, but we can all learn wherever we are now. So experiment with these steps and see how it goes. Befriend your body, stand up to fear, and offer yourself compassion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, send me a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And if you're ready to go deeper in your own recovery, I walk you through the knowledge and practices in my Be Your Own Medicine program. I would love to support you in this way. Remember that you have what it takes to feel well again in your body and mind. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.